A small victory for Lompoc wineries last night. Dozens came together to speak out against what they consider an anti-wine zoning ordinance. KSBY's Melissa Newman spoke to the city and local wineries to see if there can be a compromise.
Some wineries I spoke to today call the proposed ordinance anti-wine. It would not only change the types of events a winery could have, but also the amount of events as well. The city is now hoping that it can work together with the wine community to improve this ordinance before it reaches the city council again.
Lompoc professes to be a business-friendly city, and this is a chance for them to prove that they're a business-friendly city.
Many Lompoc winemakers were seeing red Tuesday night, and not the typical kind they work with. The city council was addressing a new zoning ordinance that would change the way wineries in the city hosted events by first redefining special events and how many times they can be held.
Most wineries would not consider having a musician play as a special event. So to tell them they can only do that 4 times a quarter, they're going, well, wait a minute, every other weekend I have somebody playing music. So that's the kind of tension that gets created.
Special events means special permits, which means some parts of the tasting experience may have been taken away.
The special permit costs around hundreds of dollars, takes a few weeks, so you can't be last minute, and you can't do a small event where it's not going to generate a bunch of money to be able to spend the money to get the permit. And so the language was more restrictive than the language before the zoning update.
The ordinance also only allowed for a certain number of events per building as opposed to per tenant, which means some wineries that share spaces would not be able to have events of their own. The city says all these changes were a result of building and fire codes.
It was never intended or to come across as the city being anti-wine. The main point was to preserve health and safety. So, staff does apologize if it came across that way.
The city hopes it can work together with those in the wine industry to make an ordinance that works for everyone. Now, while the city continues to work on this issue, some are applauding the ordinance for the parts that allow restaurants to come to places like the wine ghetto, something that's been in the works for several years. In Lompoc, Melissa Newman, KSBY News.
And the Lompoc's Planning Commission will meet again April 10th.